A very kind stranger asked, based on my old Astaire Rogers reviews, if I'd give my take on Astaire's classic Royal Wedding. I've never taken requests before, and I'm pretty vocal about my preference for RKO over the MGM musicals, which is purely personal preference. But there's something appealing about looking at somebody else's favorite movies and where they're coming from, so why not? On the surface, Royal Wedding is a by-the-numbers musical rom-com. Showbiz siblings Fred Astaire and Jane Powell take a steamer to London to perform for the wedding of Queen Elizabeth. The opener, about a king marrying his palace staff, sets the theme of commoners hooking up with royals. Scenes of the actual royal wedding are cut in occasionally for flavor. Powell plays a playgirl who leaves a trail of feuding beaux in her wake. Powell meets her match in Peter Lawford of the Rat Pack, who married into the Kennedys, a different kind of royalty. Lawford plays an equally flirty British lord. Once they get to London, their amorous backgrounds are pretty much ditched, which seems a shame. Seeing the pair of heartbreakers deciding to turn down romantic opportunities for the sake of true love might have distinguished their plotline. Meanwhile, Fred Astaire hooks up with a chorus girl who is, bizarrely, played by the daughter of actual Winston Churchill. Her movie father, of course, is not the Prime Minister, but Albert Sharp, who played the Celtic father figures in Darby O'Gill and the Little People and Brigadoon. The movie sets up some show-within-the-show pieces, giving Astaire and Powell the chance to play a king romancing his maid and a zoot-suit gangster and his mole. Fred admitted that the longest song title of all time is probably
How could you believe me when I said I love you, when you know I've been a liar all my life?
More interesting are the musical scenes which happen offstage.
I used to close my eyes and pretend I could dance all over the floor, walls, even the ceiling.
If you ever learn to do that, I can get you a very good booking.
The movie is best remembered for You're All the World to Me, in which Fred's passion for Sarah Churchill's chorus girl sends him dancing up the ceiling. The whole number is done in 2 shots, very Fred Astaire, with Fred navigating a 20x20 rotating cage. Hollywood magic. Astaire had been trying to work this into his last several pictures, and it works beautifully, partly because this movie is unexpectedly effects heavy. MGM had been having a great time working special effects into their musicals for a while. 6 years earlier, they had Gene Kelly dancing with a cartoon mouse in Anchors Aweigh, and Fred Astaire wasn't exactly a stranger to effects-heavy dance numbers. He was a perfectionist, but he was also a pioneer. He had danced against 3 outsized shadows in Swing Time. He danced in slow motion in Carefree. He danced with animated shoes in Barclays of Broadway, and soon after, he'd be inspiring Michael Jackson in The Bandwagon. And about that, Smooth Criminal is the best music video of all time, even if it's derivative of The Bandwagon. Fred Astaire and Michael Jackson are tied for best dancer of all time, but Sid Charisse's legs give The Bandwagon the edge. Royal Wedding is stuffed with special effects sequences. Fred dances on conveyor belts, again prefiguring Michael Jackson's moonwalk, and there's a scene where he and his sister perform woozily on a rocking boat. Quirkily, Keenan Wynn is cast as twin brothers, one a crass American businessman who Wynn played for most of his career, and the other a stuffy Brit. It's not exactly The Parent Trap, but you can see the production team trying out every single trick in the book.
I got you. Take you tomorrow night. Pip now. Pip now.
There's absolutely no reason for these 2 characters to be twins in national stereotypes, except that the producers thought it would be fun. Fred himself is a special effect. When his sister fails to show up for rehearsal, he turns a hat rack into a dancing partner, a gag reference in 1984 by Jonathan Demme in The Talking Heads when David Byrne did a dance routine with a lampstand, one of my favorites. Royal Wedding is also special in that it's an autobiography. This is the only movie where Astaire has a sister. He and his real-life sister Adele were a successful team on Broadway, until they took a transatlantic cruiser to England where she met and married an English lord. Along the way, they were asked to perform on the rocking boat with its slick floors, a scene replicated in Royal Wedding. Obviously, the movie takes some liberties. Adele was 4 years older than Fred, and Astaire is 30 years older than Powell. But this is fiction, and the casting on this honestly didn't go very smoothly. Astaire had already done 2 biographical movies in the past, Vernon and Iron Castle with Ginger Rogers, which has a lot going for it, and 3 Little Words, which I'll confess is a youthful favorite of mine. Astaire and Red Skelton, and the always phenomenal Vera Ellen, give a loose portrayal of the careers of Tin Pan Alley songwriters Burt Kalmar and Harry Ruby. Probably the most famous song of those guys is Betty Boop's
I wanna be loved by you, just you, nobody else but you. Boop, boop, that is.
But this was the only time when the rather private Astaire put his life story out there for the public. You wouldn't call Astaire reclusive. He had no problem showing off in Finian's Rainbow at age 69 or at the Oscars at age 71, but he kept his private life private. He even stipulated in his will that he didn't want a biographical movie ever made of his life. I'm grateful he put out his autobiography, Steps in Time, to give a glimmer of what was going on professionally in that intense head of his. In a lot of his films, you get Fred the romantic, Fred the goofy comic given to schoolboy jokes as his friend David Niven described him. But Royal Wedding gives us Fred the unrelenting perfectionist. His astounding feats on the dance floor are the result of unrelenting practice, and he never stops telling us that.
It's hard work, but it's fun.
What's that you're playing, Tom?
The song she's supposed to be rehearsing at the theater now. Don't forget, we've got to rehearse.
What time shall I meet you?
2 o'clock sharp from the gym. I won't keep you long.
I'll be there, don't worry.
Well, don't be late.
Okay.
Oh, fine. Thanks for showing up at rehearsals.
Royal Wedding finishes up with some rom-com charm, but that's not really what you came to the movie for. The special effects are striking and unexpected, and the reverberations are felt to this day. And you get a little glimpse into Fred Astaire's life, and that's a really unexpected gift.